in SpongeBob what's in the script as cone face.
Oh my.
We don't know. No one knows what it is. But I have a traffic cone on my face with wiffle ball eyes and then blue flippers, like for scuba diving, and an orange backpack, and I'm hunched over.
We are here with Sun Sounds of Arizona in Flagstaff, Arizona, and welcome to episode 19 of Untamed Shrews, Women Talk Theater, presented by the Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival. I'm Becki.
And I'm Hannah.
And I'm Dawn.
And welcome to Untamed Shrews, Women Talk Theater. Today we're chatting with my old college friend, Stephen Fala, host of the Pipe and Drape podcast. We will be discussing all things theater for younger audiences, or TYA.
But before we talk with Stephen Shrews, let's do our monthly check-in. Oh my gosh, why can't we talk today? Guys, I will say, we do our main episode with our person first and then our check-in. You're going to hear the episode obviously in just a few minutes, but we are all just stumbling over our words today.
It's okay.
What's going on?
I joked the other day. I was like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. And somebody was like, well, actually it isn't. And I was like, no, I know. But I feel like all these silly things are just in my life, or technology's not working, or I can't talk. And I'm like, it just feels like it should be if it's not.
Emotionally, I am Mercury and I am in retrograde.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, anyway, how are we? Dawn, how you doing?
Well, I mean, the tent fundraiser was amazing. Yay. Guys, we raised $13,000 in 5 days.
Yeah,
and
insane.
I just can't tell you how reassured that makes me feel about, just the support of the community here.
Yeah.
And that we really have this base of people who wants us doing theater and wants to stay dry and shady while we're doing theater for them. And that was so heartwarming. It's been a tough year for all theater companies. We've been reaching out to friends nationally, locally, everywhere, just saying why can't we find tech? Why, is attendance down? What's going on in theater? And everyone is just saying same from, Germany to Arizona. It's just this odd time post-COVID.
Yeah.
But it was really amazing and reassuring to, have the fundraiser go so well.
Yeah, I know. Me and Dawn have been texting back and forth, and it just really raised morale, specifically for Dawn and I. We've had a really tough few months, to be honest. I mean, Dawn just had her baby, and, things are majorly changing in the theater world and at Flag Shakes, and we're just moving forward. We've just hit a lot of roadblocks, and Dawn and I have felt very, discouraged, unfortunately, in a lot of ways. And this week, having the tent fundraiser go so well just was really good for me and Dawn's mental health, because sometimes, it kind of feels like you're creating theater in a vacuum, and you're just knocking your head on the wall, and you're like, why am I still doing this? Does anyone even still want me to be doing this? Does anyone want me to be doing this? Should I be doing this? Yeah, I don't know if I should even, am I making theater for who wants to be here? So it's just been really, really, it's been so good for, I think internally at Flag Shakes, just to know that people still want to come out and see these shows, and people are wanting to support us and the work that we're doing. So that was great.
Yeah,
that was such a good thing that happened this week
at the shindig, the fundraiser. Also, I met a couple who told me that they had been coming to see the shows since 2015.
Wow,
since the very first show. And it's just,
we have those very hardcore patrons who want to come follow us from the beginning.
And they don't live in Flagstaff, they live down in Phoenix. But they come up, I mean, they've got a place, but I don't know, they found Flag Shakes in 2015 and haven't left. They keep coming back, so it was sweet.
That's awesome. Love that.
Yeah,
cool. But Blake's good, and I mean, everything going well.
Yeah, he was a little sick for a while, but he has bounced back and is feeling good. And now he's just trying to pop a million teeth. So
your baby has teeth.
Wow.
Yeah, he has 2 bottom teeth, and he's popping his 2 top teeth, and he's being an absolute saint about it. I can't imagine how bad it must hurt, but he's like barely fussy sometimes. He's so sweet. But yeah, he's doing really good, and he's fully recovered, feeling much better, and that's awesome too.
Speaking of teeth, I texted Dawn this morning and I was like, hey, I need a dentist because I need to get my teeth cleaned. And Dawn was like, go to this place. Also, he's hot. And I was like, say no more, babe. Say no more.
Great.
Hot dentist, here I come.
Best looking dentist I've ever had.
Which, I mean, might not be that hard to be. Like, the bar is low.
He's a good looking guy.
Okay, cool. I will.
Nice.
Maybe I'll check in next month and let you know how my hot dentist appointment went.
That actually reminds me that I need to
Also
get dental
cleaning?
coverage.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
true.
because somebody on my Facebook likes to call teeth rich people bones because they're not always
totally.
included in just
Rich
a
people
standard
bones.
health insurance plan, which is fascinating that's not. Okay, well, I'm just now in
Rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, because vision, you don't need vision. Any like vision emergencies, I'm not. Don't quote me on this if it
I'm
comes
not an
down to
expert.
it. But what I was told was that vision emergencies will be covered by medical. You don't need separate vision insurance,
Okay.
like if you need surgery or whatever.
Right.
But dental insurance or your teeth are not the same. You need dental insurance for like if
something
If something happens, and I'm like, what? But
Health insurance is such a mess, but that is
yeah.
a different topic for another day.
Yes. Oh boy.
Bex, how are you?
I'm okay. I still feel like I haven't had any time to just not do anything.
Yeah.
But I have just bought flights for a trip in August, which if you know me, I usually book flights like 3 days out.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
You are notorious.
Yeah. But I'm going to Montana with some friends who I used to work in Montana for 3 summers. And so I'm going back with some friends. None of us I don't believe any of us have been back to Montana since 2016, so that's like 6 years.
Yeah.
So we've got planned, like we're going to Glacier National Park, which is my absolute favorite place on earth. So I am just so much looking forward to that.
Yay.
So when we had Devon Glover on the podcast last month, last week,
I know.
I think we
yeah.
recorded these very
Only
closely.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
When he led the sonnet workshop that Flag Shakes hosted in 2020, the sonnet that I wrote was about Glacier National Park, and I haven't touched it since 2020. So that's also kind of
Bring
like
it back.
inspiring me to look at it.
Instagram
and
caption.
Yeah.
Post
Yeah.
that sonnet when you post your glacier pics.
Yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah.
I want to book some trips, but I have had not a moment to sit down and buy a flight. I need to buy my Bahamas flights for Sta. We've talked about going to Denver for a girls' trip in July. Well, now it's the end of June, so your girl needs to do that if we're gonna do that. I really need to do that. But it's the same. Like, I feel like you use the word shot out of a cannon. I feel like I was shot out of a cannon last October and I'm still in the air. My cannon has not dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the fires are under some,
Yeah.
they're better. I don't know if they're
That's good.
technically out. Are they technically out? Dawn might know. Her husband
I
is
think
an
they're
environmental
both.
journalist.
I think they're both fully contained.
Okay, cool.
The problem now is flooding.
Okay.
So those fire scars flood.
Right, we have major
so I think that's-
monsoon. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a major monsoon yesterday, and some of that fire scar area flooded.
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it's so good to see you, my shrews. We're in the middle of our summer rep. This will come out once the final weekend of summer rep. So by the time you hear that, this summer rep will be over.
No, won't we
but-
have one more weekend?
This comes out. Oh, wait.
On the 17th, right?
Let's see. Hold. I'm pretty sure.
I
Let's
thought
see.
it.
1, 2, 3. Oh, you're right. We will have one more weekend. So this will come out the end of the first weekend.
Sweet.
So if you have not already and you're listening to this on time, please go see Importance of Being Earnest or Othello. We talked with Devon Glover last month, the Sonnet Man. He's directing Othello. And James Cougar Canfield is directing The Importance of Being Earnest. And it is just the most ridiculous, most fun show you'll probably ever see. So you have to come see them both. Have a laugh, have a cry.
Let it all out.
Let it all out with the summer rep at Flag Shakes. Do you remember the one time in the Austin episode when I called us the Flagstaff Shakespeare Company? What the heck is happening? Anyway,
Mercury's in retrograde.
I can't
Exactly.
say. Oh, well, I think that's our cue that we should just jump on over to Stephen. What do we say?
Let's do it.
Okay, now over to our conversation with Stephen. Bye, Shrews.
Bye. Okay, we are back with my friend Stephen Fala.
Yay.
Hi. Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Stephen and I met in college at Temple University, so maybe the Cliff Notes, Spark Notes, or the full folio of what you've been doing since we graduated.
Hi, everyone. Becki and I met one of our first days at Temple.
Sorry, Stephen. You're my first or the second friend that I met at Temple. I think it was probably Welcome Week or something. First weekend there, I didn't know anyone.
Precious.
And then we met.
No.
Yeah, we're sitting in this big old hall, one of Temple's very few older buildings, where we met and learned about the basics of the university, and then we went through the theater program together with the acting classes and working behind the scenes, and we were in Alpha Psi Omega together. So we were helping to produce student-run theater, which is one of the major ways that people at Temple learn how to create theater. And then we graduated together. And then Becki was actually a bridge for me into the real world. So we both ended up working for what is now the Rev Theater Company up in the Finger Lakes right after graduation. So Becki went right up there, and then I was home for a couple months, and then moved to the Finger Lakes, knowing no one except for Becki, who was just finishing up her contract up there, and I was about to start. So we had sleepovers, and then went out and about in Auburn, and then we both continued on our magical journeys, and that was one of my first professional TYA jobs was that contract. So Becki made me feel very comfortable up there it was my 22nd birthday was when I moved.
Oh my gosh, fresh baby Stephen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about MGR, now the Rev, when we get into more of the actual meat of the episode. But cool.
Yeah, because I think my contract had ended the week before, or maybe it was the day that you had gotten there, but my parents were coming up to the Finger Lakes in a week, and Stephen let me sleep on his floor. Thank you.
Cute.
I don't know if that was kosher for MGR. Don't tell them. I'm just kidding. I'm sure it was fine.
Well,
Lisa.
Awesome. And what are you up to now? You're actually currently in Arizona, which is so funny. We were planning to have you on the pod before you were even in Arizona, which is funny.
Yeah, this worked out so nicely. I super last minute received an offer to do Spongebob at Arizona Broadway Theater, and had 48 hours to get my life together and hop on a plane and jump into rehearsals. So I'm currently 3 hours south of you all, working on Spongebob. This is my day off. And we have another few weeks of the run. By the time actually this will be airing as I'm taking my final bow.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Last Sunday or third Sunday of the month, y'all.
And Becki came down to see the show, and we caught up for the first time in a very long time, since jobs and various global events have taken us other places.
Yes.
So I'm just down here under the sea.
Yay! Oh, what a silly show. We were talking about SpongeBob. What a crazy show. Yeah. So what are you tell us about Pipe and Drape, your own podcast. We are podcast buddies.
Yes, while I'm down here, I am starting to release my season 2 interviews, which is exciting to get different perspectives out in the world. A few years ago, I was working on a show, and I was reading this book called #SoBlessed, and it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek review of regional theaters in
like
America.
#blessed and booked.
Booked and blessed.
Booked and blessed. Did I say it wrong? Oh no!
Colloquially, it is a hashtag booked and blessed, but
I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, babe. I don't know. Booked and blessed and booked. Sorry, go ahead, Stephen.
Oh, no, you're fine. So when I was hashtag booked, I started, inspired by that, what I read, I started writing about my own experiences through the lens of someone who mainly does theater for young audiences, or TYA.
Yeah.
And there were many similarities as far as the audition culture and, people say the grind. I never refer to it as that, but there are a lot of things that were different about my take on the theater industry. And as I was writing down my own experiences, I realized, wait, I'm not the only one who does, has been hopping around doing TYA at all these places. There's a whole group of us, people our age, who have bridged the gap between being a kid and performing for kids in this section of the industry that a lot of people don't talk about. Mm-hmm. So I decided that I wanted to talk about it with people and share those stories. So I started this podcast where I was interviewing industry members who had early on, either after high school or college or whatever, done something with TYA, either writing it, performing in it, stage managing, designing it, producing it. This season, I have a couple of producers on. And so I've been using this podcast as a platform to help share other people's pipe and drape stories.
Nice.
Which has been really nice, especially during the pandemic, to still keep my foot in the theater door when things were at intermission. And now we're back.
Yay. Yeah. I know. And now we have a podcast. We all made our pandemic podcast, and now this is episode 19. So y'all, we're like professional podcasters now.
Stephen, would you explain just a little bit what exactly pipe and drape means for our audience members?
A lot of children's theater shows or theater for young audiences, there are pieces that are taken to schools. Mm-hmm. So kids can just go to their gym, cafeteria, gymnasium, cafetorium, whatever it is, and see theater and then get right back to class. Because it's easier, it is cheaper to bring theater to kids rather than bring kids to theater.
Put them on buses.
And in order to do that and get things in and out of schools very quickly, the set itself where the actors perform is constructed out of pipes and backdrops or drapes that come apart and fold together very, very easily. And so it's just known in the industry that it's a pipe and drape model tour. So it's understood that you're just setting up these pipes that all hook into each other with various drops that hook on and off. And I've done shows where it's tiny, people say dinky pipe and drape, where it's like literal PVC pipes, or then stuff where in theory, doing a big show in an arena, there's still drapes and there's still pipes. They're just like really, really big. Yeah. But
they're just
normally
very fancy.
Pipe and drape refers to the small stuff.
Yeah. I've done a TYA tour that all of our things, so the pipe and drape, our costumes, any props that we had, all fit into like two I don't know, extra long duffel bags essentially.
Yeah.
And but like because we were touring and like going into schools and stuff, and oftentimes like there's not a lot of setup time. Like maybe you have a half an hour, and it's like because they kind of want you like in and out. Maybe you've got 2 or 3 shows that day. Yeah.
By the way, Dawn is here, everyone out there. She just has her baby with her, so she's laughing. She's
he's
laughing
having
and giggling.
A heck of a time at his play table. Talk about youth theater. There's some excitement going on here. So I will unmute and pop in, but right now I'm just enjoying the conversation.
You have become a listener of Untamed Shrews. I just wanted to make sure they were like, where the heck is Dawn? I haven't heard one giggle.
I'm here.
She's here. That's awesome. Well, I would love to just jump into, honestly, I would just love to talk about like fun experiences we've had in TYA. I think I would love to especially just discuss me and Becki. Becki and I have been friends for many years, I guess, a good chunk of years now, since 2019.
I mean, it's now 4 years.
Yeah, it's now 4 years. But what I love to say about Becki and I's relationship is that when I first met Becki, there was about 9 months that the longest time that Becki and I were apart was going to bed. Like we did like 3 contracts in a row together, and we went on tour with for TYA the summer of 2019, and it's with what is now the Rev, at the time Merry-Go-Round Playhouse or Merry-Go-Round Youth Theater, a lot of different names, but they're the Rev now, and we went on tour in upstate New York, and we had such a blast. And it's I don't know, it's just, I mean, it's definitely a shrew, an OG shrew experience. But honestly, one of my most favorite memories of all time, like thinking back to those 6-7 weeks, whatever it was such a magical time. We were in that Sprinter van.
Yeah.
We were eating so much ice cream. Wow, did we eat so much ice cream? Stephen is saying yes.
So I don't know if the tours that you've done where, like, I don't know, maybe there's like a common theme or like inside joke or what. Well, I'm sure there is. But like, so the thing that we had for the 4 of us on this tour, and something that I don't know if we've said before, but or at least the contracts that I've done with TYA, we're all traveling together in a van. So like the actors are also the drivers, are also setting up the pipe and drape, and
we are
checking
our
in with
own
the schools,
technicians.
Yeah. But so you can get really close with the people who you're in that van with. And so something that we would do is kind of every time we came across like a small town ice cream shop, we're like, we're stopping, right?
Stop.
We're stopping.
Even if we didn't want the ice cream, we still stopped.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is like, I was probably like, that was like one of the most fit times of my life, because we were literally setting up this stage however many times a day, and we were sweating our butts out. Like, oh my gosh. So this ice cream, just like, it did not matter. We could eat ice cream after ice cream after ice cream cone, and we were we needed more calories.
Yeah.
We still needed more calories. It was so fun. I love that experience.
Yeah. So Stephen, has there been like any like, I mean, that's not like an inside
One
joke,
tour.
but like any like themes that develop in the tours? Or
Well, he giggled when I said ice cream, so maybe it's like more of a thing than I knew.
I didn't really have froyo until I worked at the Rev.
Okay.
We were constantly getting it.
Only eating froyo.
Yeah, it was. I needed it. As you said, you're constantly working, and so you need that refuel. And there's just so many options for toppings, and I just fell in love with frozen yogurt up there. So that was such a thing with us. We had a joke that I loved Tim Hortons.
Ooh.
My friend Scott pointed this out. Scott Duell, who was on tour with me and has done a bunch of shows up at the Rev.
He was there my first summer too.
Hortons.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that was fine. It's just, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, this isn't funny, but it's only funny that it's just an inside joke. So everyone, welcome.
Sorry, if you've worked for the Rev, we should start like a little group.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking on our Instagram, do you remember that really cool time lapse we took of behind the stage?
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally going to post that on the gram.
Oh, yeah.
To promote this episode.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, such good memories.
Yeah.
But
so this is kind of veering out of like themes, inside jokes and stuff. But some things that like maybe you pick up while you're on tour. Because Stephen and I were talking when we met up a couple weeks ago that that you've actually done some aerial that you started or that you did as you were on one of the TYA tours, right? That you done before. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, like picking up a new hobby, like kind of how that like works in a traveling schedule, more or less.
I'm always looking for a new adventure when I'm on the road. Something that was always impressed upon me was travel while you're young. And I was like, okay. So I did it, but also worked at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the way
and
to do
opportunities like taking aerial classes, doing silks and lyra when I was on the road just came up. So that all my aerial classes happened when I was working for Nickelodeon. I was on tour. I did Paw Patrol, and
You're the Paw Patrol friend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know you more
Hannah
than
has
I
nieces
thought.
and nephews.
Well, yeah, we were, because remember, okay, sorry, now we're off topic.
Oh, no.
But we were talking about auditioning for Paw Patrol, remember?
I don't, but I believe you.
Anywho, continue.
I could do a whole podcast just me gushing about Paw Patrol.
About Paw
I
Patrol.
think it's such a good show and brand.
Aw,
I don't know.
cute.
Anyway,
Yay.
my thighs never were like stronger than they were than doing that show.
Oh my gosh.
But my hips are destroyed forever, but it's fine.
Oh,
Oh,
no. Oh, I need to know that story, but...
Puppetry will get you, you know.
Oh,
It's just
interesting.
a lot. But
Yeah.
I was doing these aerial classes with my cast because they were all interested, and my performance director was really interested in it too. So then the two of us would go and we would do stuff, and it was fun. So that was just a new skill that I picked up. I don't want to say skill because I'm very, very beginner, but I loved it. I felt like this is what I was doing on the swing set when I was younger, and I was doing flips, and the teachers were mad. I'm like, okay, but I'm an artist.
Okay, but
And so I
like,
got to-
excuse you, I'm a circus artist.
Don't crush my
Don't
creative
crush my
spirit.
dream. Yeah, we love that. Anything aerial, we're like, yes, talk to us about aerial.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you mentioned that somebody from that tour who ended up picking up pole has now, like, I don't know, made it their career or definitely, like, expanded and has become very advanced about it or with it, something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, my friend Jackie Fisher, who was one of our swings on the tour, has really, really gotten into it since and has a whole separate Instagram account. And I'm like, wow, yes. And I'm following her journey with that on Instagram. Same with you, Becki.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool to see what people, hobbies outside of theater. Because I feel like so much of my life, it's been like theater was my hobby. Theater was
also my life, my career.
Yeah, it's all my family will ask me about. And I realized, oh my gosh, do I have anything that I do outside of my job?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I started doing other stuff just because.
It's so true. And like whenever I discuss aerial with people, I like to say it's the first thing I've found that I love as much as theater. And I found theater when I was like 5. So I haven't discovered something that I'm this passionate about since I was a child.
Yeah.
And of course, I have honed my theater skills, but I have never I haven't had the chance to discover something that I'm this obsessed with since I was a kiddo. So that's why I love aerial so much, because I've never I don't know. I've never opened up to a whole new world before since I was little.
Yeah.
So
Senior year of college, me and 2 friends went to go get our haircuts. I don't know. It was like before tech or opening or something. We're like, yeah, now's a great time to go get a haircut. But so we went to this place, and afterward, all 3 of us were like, my stylist asked me what my hobbies were, and I was like, I don't know.
One.
I do theater. Like, need I say more?
it's the only one. It's the
Yeah.
only one I have.
Yeah. So it's nice, growing up, or now, what am I trying to say? Having the time, energy, resources, money to be able to pick up things that, I don't know, living in Philadelphia, I didn't do. And I'm sure, it was also 2009 or whatever, or to the 20. What am I saying? I'm just rambling. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're not rambling.
But just I don't know, pole fitness wasn't really a thing. It doesn't feel like back then. And aerial, at least I didn't really know about it until coming to Flagstaff. So it's I don't know, just as the
I knew
times
it
go
existed,
on.
but I never ever thought I could do it.
Yeah.
I only ever thought that crazy athletes could do it. I never thought, especially I, had a higher weight body at the time. I never ever would have thought that I could have done aerial. Not something I would have ever believed. So anyway, this is not an aerial podcast. That's funny. Okay. Well, Dawn, is there anything you want to add?
Not that's not aerial related. I would just take us on a further tangent. I've only done one youth tour in my time in theater, and it was while I was in college. We did a play called the Odyssey of Jeremy Jack, and I played a very purple lizard. And that's really all I have to say.
Wait, let's all name the weird animals we've played. Okay, so you've been a purple lizard.
Weird purple lizard.
Okay.
In a Hawaiian print dress.
In a Hawaiian print dress.
Naturally.
Okay. I have been a rainbow fox who represented the Northern Lights to Leketu, and I wore a lot of fur in upstate New York in 95-degree weather in 100% humidity.
It's hot.
Becki, you've played
I've played
the
dogs.
dog. Yeah, the dog. Tell them about your inspiration for the dog.
Oh, so I did the Bremerton Musicians with MGR, Merry-Go-Round Playhouse, MGR. Why did that sound? Merry-Go-Round. Yeah, I'm like, why did that sound so weird? Okay, with Merry-Go-Round Playhouse, now known as the Rev, we did a show called the Bremerton Musicians, which is not really a fairy tale, I think, that our generation knows. But it's based on these 4 animals that meet up in Bremen, Germany. Or they're trying to get to Bremen, Germany to form a band.
Cute.
And I played the dog, and the costume designer, when I chatted with her, I was like, oh, what was your inspiration for this dog? This dog looks familiar to me. And it was a blue heeler, and my brother's dog is a blue heeler. So I was like, oh, yay, I just get to be Tater Tot.
I was going to say. And me and Becki just had a joke the other day that I knew her brother's dog's name, but not her brother's name. What a bad best friend. I was like, oh, yeah, Tater Tot. Oh, yeah, and also Tater Tot's dad.
Question mark?
Question mark. What's your brother's name?
Yeah.
I mean, Tater Tot is unforgettable.
Yeah, Tater Tot's very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
other animals.
Well, so I've also played. We did a spoof off of fairy tales. So instead of Little Red Riding Hood, I was Little Blue Riding Hood.
Okay.
That's the only name that I can remember of those characters, but they're definitely wacky. Stephen, what about you?
Yeah.
Aside from Paw Patrol,
I'm a puppeteer, so I've
played a lot of
all the
animals.
at some point. I'm currently in SpongeBob. What's in the script as Cone Face?
Oh my.
We don't know. No one knows what it is. But I have a traffic cone on my face with wiffle ball eyes and then blue flippers for scuba diving and an orange backpack, and I'm hunched over.
Oh, I can't.
And it just is.
I can't.
And we don't talk about it. We talk about it backstage, but in the show it's not explained. I'm on stage in that thing for maybe 30 seconds.
It's very
Steven's just a cone for no reason.
Just trash found in the sea. I don't know. Not you yourself, of course. Just the cone. Why is there a cone in the sea?
Is it supposed to be the driving episode of SpongeBob? I'm trying to think of I was not actually much of a SpongeBob fan, but isn't there an episode where he gets his driver's license or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a stretch.
I wish there's when he goes
episodes.
to rock bottom and everyone looks weird and has an accent where they talk like this. And I really wanted to incorporate that into Cone Face, but it's not scripted, and I felt like if they wanted that reference, they would do it.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind.
Okay, maybe unless that's his backstory.
Yeah.
Stephen, I am totally a fangirl for SpongeBob, so as soon as you said that, I was just like, oh my gosh.
Gina was
I
want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
but that kind of segues you doing the people talk I can't even do it. Like that. Kind of I don't know. So working in TYA, the comedy aspect to it, I feel
silly.
is so silly, but it also is so specific and is so focused, because if you, the actor, is not focused or specific about it on stage, I feel like you're gonna lose.
You lose your kiddos.
The kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know, working in TYA is always such an honor and just a masterclass of comedy.
Yeah.
If you're working on a comedic show, I don't know, because it has to be so. There's just a little bit.
Well, if you literally drop your game at all, they just lose interest.
Yeah.
An adult audience is more willing to stick with you through the highs and the lows, but a kiddo audience, if you drop your energy any iota, they're just like, oh, I could pick at these flowers in the grass instead. And that's way more interesting than you, Hannah. So you like have to, you have to be on your A game, like literally at every moment.
Yeah. I don't know. Stephen, do you find like during rehearsals and stuff, there's a little bit more, I don't know, like focused? Not to say that like, of course, in a non-TYA show, there's not that focus. I don't know. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say?
I don't know. Like, do you mean like the show itself, or the like the process of learning the show, or the comedy?
A little bit of all three.
All three.
Yeah. I don't know. Stephen, were you going to say something?
Oh, no.
No,
I mean,
great.
I can say something. I don't know.
Please
you're
say
fine.
something. Say something.
I'll keep rambling.
Anything? I'm just kidding.
Whenever I'm working on a TYA piece, I'm still approaching it the same way I would approach anything else. It's just with the understanding that the script is going to look a little different because the kids don't have the same vocabulary that adults do and the same references. So a lot of times in scripts for adults, there are colloquialisms or like situations where they don't need to be explained because we've been alive for 30 years. We get what this is. Whereas kids don't have that many reference points in their life. And so things are a bigger deal. Stakes are higher because it's new stuff. And so it's approaching it through that lens where things are written out differently, kind of staged differently. So it's like a teaching moment without, and I hate this phrase, talking down to them. And this is something I think about a lot because in a lot of TYA auditions I go to, the casting is saying, we don't talk down to kids. And like, that's very vague. Because in my mind, that means your hands are on your hips and you're like, we don't do this, talking to the audience. But I think, talking down to kids is like trying to do something bad and passing it off as good. So it's that energy putting into it where it's, even though the material was, I don't want to say more basic, but just different than adults, where the vocabulary is different, the stories are different, it still has to be filled with that same amount of heart. And they know when you're phoning it in or just filling in a very basic archetype. So I take it as a challenge where, okay, this dialogue is a little plainer than usual, but that's my job to fill this box with something really exceptional and different. So when I first started working with the Rev and I went and I did TYA with like Barter and like Lexington Children's Theater, I'm still going and I'm doing my Uta Hagen work. Like that's something very important to me. That's temples, their basic principle is Uta Hagen. We don't really delve into too many other methods when we're there. And so I was going and doing my character work because I'm very much in my head whenever I'm creating a piece. And so I need to have all of that. So when dealing with stuff like comedy or entertaining, for the most part, it's very physical because regardless of where you are in your language learning skills, physical comedy is universal. It doesn't matter usually what country you're in or age. It's something like
you can still enjoy.
And so since I've always been a very physical performer, that's come very easily to me where I grew up watching Friends and Will and Grace, where a lot of the comedy is theatrical and physical, so it just clicked with me. And being involved in these stories where you are in the Amazon or the ocean or Terabithia or whatever, you're playing creatures that don't usually have human qualities. And so it's this fun mixture of very real, I don't want to say raw, but like raw training that I had and fantastical situations that a lot of people I think don't do when they're doing TYA, but it is something that I do take seriously.
Something that I picked up was that kids are smarter than you think. And let's say you're going into a school and you're performing for the entire elementary school, so it's 1 through 5. They're obviously at very different like developmental stages, learning stages from a first grader to a fifth grader, but playing to like the intelligence of a fifth grader, because the first graders are going to go, I should like, the fifth graders are into this, like I want to be into this too. But if you play just to the first graders, then the fifth graders are like
bored.
Like I'm beyond this, like why am I here? And then they get they get bored.
I'm too cool for this.
I'm too cool.
I'm too cool for this. Oh, that's like the main thing, is that students and kiddos can be really, really like hard to impress, and they can sense your fear. They're like, I'm too cool for you, and you're like, please like me.
When I did the Echoes workshops for the middle schoolers, I literally was like, oh yeah, no, they are cooler than me. I'm like, I'm not cool enough for them.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. What I love about TYA is, you kind of mentioned it, like the fantastical elements. Like, of course, there are shows that are, geared towards adults that are also fantastical, especially musicals. But, I primarily do Shakespeare and musicals. So I'm like kind of the two, like, I mean, Shakespeare, of course, has fantastical elements, but there is nothing like a TYA show. Like Dawn just said, she was a very purple lizard. Like, just like the most fantastic, like, you are personifying an animal that's very traditional for TYA, is like animal stories. I think I've played an otter before. Yeah, it's just like, and I don't want to say stereotypes, but like over the top, like taking one aspect and just like really running with it, like one little thing about the character and making it like so huge and so big, because that's like what the kids can latch on to. Yeah, and that's what I think I love about TYA, is like that whimsical aspect of the performance style. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
It's tons of fun.
Kids haven't lost their like imagination or like play yet, and I feel like a lot of adults, I mean, we do, like, like it's because it's seen as childish or immature or whatever, but so TYA kind of allows for more of that playfulness. I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of, what are like some of our most favorite like silly stories? Like, Stephen, do you have like a hilarious interaction you've had with a kid, or just something that's like, stereotypical TYA silly fun stuff?
Oh gosh, I think interactions with kids, this isn't even silly, but I will never forget this. When I was working for the Rev, had to go into the classrooms before the show and have a discussion with fifth graders about the environment, the Amazon, and things that we can do to create, have more sustainable ways of life. And the amount of stuff that kids already knew blew me away. Part of the workshop was that I had to explain what a hydroelectric dam was, which I had no idea that even existed before this contract. So I'm always learning. And so I went in and I went up to the whiteboard and I was like, what do you think this, like, a hydroelectric dam is? This kid raised his hand and explained it perfectly. And I was like, well, there you go.
I don't need to be here.
Yeah, I was shocked. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you want to come with us?
Yeah.
Like, you're done.
Wait, yes, I have a similar story. It's not for TYA, but kids will latch onto something. I have like a 3 and like an almost 5-year-old, like 2 nephews who, oh my gosh, do not tell them what kind of dump. Like, if you say dump truck, they're going to be like, excuse you, Auntie Hanny, this is actually an excavator. And this is like all the things about the excavator. And these are all the different types of excavators. And this is a dump truck, but this is a this, and this is a that, and this is a that. And I'm just like, how do you know so much? Because like they are hyper fixated on it. So that kid just really liked hydroelectric dams.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That's so silly. I love that.
Yeah.
Any other silly, I don't know, just like, I feel like we've all, when you're in a TYA show, a kid shouts something silly or does something weird, or I don't know, they're just weirdos.
My favorite, and this happened when I was doing Jeremy Jack, and then it also happened, I think, in a story I've told at the American Shakespeare Center, but my favorite is that they don't know that they can't change the story.
Aww.
you know? And so I love it when kids will, you know, like I remember in Jeremy Jack, there was a part where this vulture was coming after the turtle character, and every show almost some little kid would be like, watch out,
Exactly.
she's right behind you.
Yes.
And like he wasn't supposed to see her, so it was really hard for him to be like, I'm still interacting with you, but I'm also not taking your notes. Like,
no, exactly, because I feel like every 2IA show is like, wait, turn around. Yeah.
Last night during SpongeBob, which I see, there's arguments about whether it's 2IA or not, but that's not irrelevant.
Neither here nor there.
There's a part where SpongeBob is throwing a bubble device into a big volcano, and it's at the end of the show, and they're counting down him throwing it in. And so he's like, 1, 2, pauses. This kid in the audience goes, 3.
Aww.
And I'm standing there, I'm holding up the scaffolding where he's standing, and I'm laughing. And then the actor playing Patrick and the actor playing Sandy have a little kind of ad-lib argument with whether he should throw the device on 3 or after 3. And then our Patrick was like, well, that guy over there said we should throw it on 3, referencing the kid in the audience who shouted. And I was like, I'm living for this. If there were kids in this audience every night, and there are, but I love when they shout stuff out.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm biased because I'm so used to performing for kids.
Right.
But I think especially SpongeBob really lends itself to having that kind of
Audience interaction.
Canto audience interaction.
Yeah.
So that's in my mind, I'm like, this is a TYA piece, but it's also fun for millennials. And it's also fun for parents of millennials who had to watch it with us.
Right.
But I love when kids shout stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of getting at, is like, because 2AA is so interactive and like obviously universal lighting and everything, we see and we hear everything. They're like a part of the show with you, and you ask them questions and they answer, like, what color is this? What is that? Yeah. Oh, when you see this, shout at that, or like make storm noises, or like whatever it happens to be.
Bringing them up on stage for a bit or whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I love that about 2A. Stephen, you have to send me a photo of you as Cone Face.
I will. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's
like,
one of the first things I posted on Instagram in months.
Okay,
I was like,
good.
I need people to know.
So that might be your photo on our Instagram. We can discuss, but
Great.
I feel like it has to be the Cone Face photo.
So silly.
It is so silly. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Well, you kind of touched on this where like SpongeBob, like is it a 2IA? Is it for millennials? Blah blah blah. I went to see the Winnie the Pooh musical. Winnie the Pooh show. Yeah, I guess it is a musical in New York, when it was in New York in January, and it was the same thing with them where a friend's partner was a designer or on the technical team. I can't remember. But he was like, yeah, we really thought that this was going to be a show that it was like kids would be here, like parents with their kids. But what we're finding is that it's a lot of like
us,
people our age who are going for that nostalgia and like kind of doing the like Disney bounding where like, I mean, I vaguely dressed as Winnie the Pooh. Like my sister went as Piglet and my mom went as Christopher Robin. Like, of course we're going to dress up for that, you know? So
I love that.
The
well,
nostalgia.
Winnie the Pooh just makes me so emotional. Winnie the Pooh. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
I always feel like, oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, I feel like
So
a lot
alarmed.
of like very good TYA is really for everyone. I love the stuff where it's everyone can get something out of it. And I think it's important to make stuff where the main focus is theater for younger audiences. But I think the most successful pieces, in my mind, have something for everyone. So Winnie the Pooh, I had multiple friends that were in the development process and stuff where they talked about how they weren't expecting to have all these people our age come, but in the development I'm like, well, of course we are, because we grew up with this and we love this, and it's still, I got to see it and it took me somewhere, just the nostalgia factor, and that I could truly escape the world for a second and just go to the 100-acre wood. And I'm like, I'm 30 and I need it. Thank you.
And I need it.
No, so true.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen it, because I feel like that would be just such a moment of like respite.
Just like a sweet. Oh wait, Stephen,
So
you
happy.
just said something that reminded me of something. Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh shoot.
Pooh. Friends.
Oh darn it.
That's okay.
It's gonna come to me.
It'll come to you in the
I'll
middle
jump
of the
in.
night, and she'll text me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we actually went over a little bit on time. Is there any last things we want to talk about with TYA? It's been a blast.
Yeah.
It's been so nice. It's been so just like positive.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no, I had it and then it went away.
Becki,
no! Wait, something about... yeah, Stephen, when you had mentioned that, like, the really great TYA shows are not just meant for kids, but are really meant for everyone. What reminded me of that was having worked on the Polar Express, and something that is so ingrained in that show is that, yes, like, this show really is for the kids and for the people who have, like, forgotten how to be a kid, aka us adults. And, like, Santa is talking to the adults as if they're like he's not, like, this isn't a facade for the adults.
Right.
It's like, nope, this is Santa. And like, yeah, like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not being eloquent again, but I think I'm getting across.
I get you. Yeah, totally. And literally when you and I went to the Polar Express, we enjoyed it more than any of those children. Oh my gosh, we were laughing so much. We had such a good time.
So sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen, tell us how everyone can find you, how they can find Pipe and Drape, maybe what you're up to next.
The best way to find me and Pipe and Drape is through Instagram. So my personal account is at Stephen in Disguise. That's Stephen with a PH.
Okay.
And Pipe and Drape is at Pipe and Drape Stories on Instagram. And on there, you will find links to the podcast on the major streaming networks, a link to the transcription of every episode on Blogger, and then additional TYA resources about fun stuff that's happening in that part of the industry.
Nice.
Yay.
And next up for me, I'm headed back to New York.
Yay.
And hoping for the next best thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yay.
Awesome.
Oh, it was
well,
so
it was
lovely catching
yeah,
up.
that was so nice, Stephen. It was really, really fun to get to know you and talk about TYA because it's just a fun, pleasant conversation to have. And I feel like we all need some silliness and some fun in our lives right now, you know?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
wait, can I add something else? I'm so sorry. I just about how we talk to kids, I just remember somebody saying that the way that we talk to children sometimes has a little bit more kindness in the way that than the way that we talk to adults, particularly about hard subjects. So
good thing to keep
I don't
in
know.
mind.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. That
Give people grace. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
If you're going through something tough, maybe think of yourself as the little kid you're talking to and talk to yourself a little bit nicer than you might normally.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Dawn, anything? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for listening to this month's episode of Untamed Shrews. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Becki.
And I'm Hannah. Join us next time for a Shrews only silly episode. I just mentioned this, but I think we all need some silliness in our life right now. And we haven't done just a regular Shrews episode in a while. We've had a lot of guests, and trust me, we love guests. But I think it's time just for a Shrew only episode. If you have a suggestion on a fun, silly topic that you want the Shrews to talk about, send us a message. We would love your feedback.
Yeah.
Follow Untamed Shrews on our Instagram at Untamed Shrews Podcast and on Facebook at facebook.com/Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival. All episodes of Untamed Shrews can be found on sunsounds.org, the Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, or put us in your Instagram stories. Help support the Shrew crew.
Seriously, pause this right now. Okay, it's paused. Well, now wait, but you have to listen to me. Okay, well, you're pausing it in a second. You're gonna go give us a 5-star review. You're gonna leave us a comment. You're gonna follow us on Instagram. I am watching you. I need you to do this.
You're gonna share us to your stories.
Yes.
You're gonna send it to
a friend,
to a family member,
yes.
to To ...
to anyone.
I can't finish my sentences today. Great.
Becca's having a stroke. Anyway, no, seriously, do that, please.
This episode of Untamed Shrews, starring Dawn Tucker, Becki Zaritsky, Hannah Fonts, and Stephen Fala.
Yay.
Show art by Calliope Luedeker. Podcast theme song by Cadence Lamb. Podcast produced and edited by Hannah Fonts. Presented by Flagstaff Shakespeare Festival and recorded with Sun Sounds, Arizona. Special thanks to our audio engineer, Gina Byars. Yay!
Thank you, Stephen.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Sorry, my sound immediately
Let's
went
keep
out.
it.
Great. I'm going to do the same thing. Hello. We are here with Sun Sounds of Arizona. Oh my gosh. We are here with Sun Sounds of
Wait,
Arizona.
let's start over. Okay.
Hello. We are here with Sun Sounds of Arizona. It went out again. I'm so sorry. All right, take 4. Hello. We are
I'm so sorry. Okay.
And just so you know, it's not going out on this side.
Great.
So it's just you.
It's just all in my mind.